Hi. So I've not really done a video like this before. This is going to be a bit more like a diary entry. So obviously I have a lovely studio here that I do lots of work in, but it is not usually my day job. So normally I work in marketing, technology, automation, these sort of things for big business-to-business companies, and I've been working for an agency doing work on behalf of different clients. And unfortunately, the way things have gone in the market, just about 2 weeks ago, I was made redundant. So I no longer, I've been put on garden leave. Officially, I've got 3 months to effectively look for a new job or decide what it is I'm going to do. It's been a little bit of a strange one because the work I've been doing has mostly been based in London. I'm based in Manchester, and that obviously involves a lot of travel. So going down sort of once a week or maybe staying over, it can be quite disruptive to my life. I had over time thought a little bit about, do I even want to continue doing this? It restricts me on what I want to do during the week. And so that had been playing on my mind a little bit. And then knowing that my actual workload had been decreasing quite a lot, to the point where some days I would have very little to do, and we weren't really getting many new clients in. I think the writing was kind of on the wall a little bit, what was going to happen. Now, obviously, I'm in a lucky position in that I have 3 months of notice and I can be paid throughout the entire notice period. So at the moment, I'm fine for money, but it does mean that I need to decide what I'm going to do for the next chapter. I could go on and do exactly what I've been doing previously. That is something that I can do. I can maybe reach out to some of my contacts, maybe go and work in a consultancy again. Maybe I go in-house, or maybe I decide to go on my own and do freelance. The other alternative is I have this space, which is mostly a hobby for me. I don't really sell that many paintings. I do sell a few. There's obviously merchandise things as well. So I do have a few options available to me. So I'm at a little bit of a crossroads, really, in deciding exactly what I would like to do going forward. Do I want to continue to do my mix between my creative sort of hobby, which is here, producing paintings, or do I want to go back into the sort of corporate world? There are obviously a lot of different choices that are available to me. I understand I'm kind of in a privileged position in that I can kind of decide what I want to do. And luckily I've got a lovely husband who is still wonderfully employed, and can support us and our cats. But yeah, this is kind of like a new chapter. I need to decide what I'm going to do. I've already decided that I'm going to take July off and do my own thing. I've already been in the studio several times already. This is the first video that I've done since I found out. And I've got lots of canvases. Generally, when I'm feeling a bit stressed, my go-to is to go and do something creative. So I have previously been made redundant before. I think I was out of work for about 6 weeks. And in that time, I decided to get really into DIY. I renovated several cupboards in the house, decided to learn how to gild, and decided to completely upcycle some mirrors, made them gold instead of pine. And yeah, I'm kind of not good at being just restful and not doing anything. So I find having a creative outlet is my way of working through these things. Now, I've been officially not doing anything really for about 2 weeks now. I have managed to fill my time, strangely enough. I have been to the studio several times. I've taken myself to the cinema. That was lovely. Been to the park, read a book, even gone to the beach nearby, which was really nice. So I think what I'm probably going to do is just work through some paintings, which I'll share on this channel, and we'll see where we go from there. The first one I'm going to do, I think, is based on our beach trip, which we did at the weekend. So we went to lovely Formby Beach, which I'd never been to before, which is National Trust Beach. Absolutely beautiful. I took some gorgeous photos while we were there. Done a little bit of a sketch of one of my friends, and I think I'm going to make this into an oil painting. So if you'd like to watch along, this is my sort of cathartic process, and yeah, we'll see how I feel after it. It's obviously kind of quite a sunny scene, which would be quite nice. I did start doing a painting last week, which is a little bit more subdued, definitely in terms of colours, and potentially in subject matter. I think maybe I don't want to lean too much into the sort of whole grey, slightly depressing view. So I am going to do quite a colourful painting, I think, today, of a nice beach scene. So I've already prepared some canvases. So as you'll have seen on some of the other paintings I've done, I will often prepare a canvas with several layers of gesso, sand it down, and then I will do a colour over the top so that it's got a nice contrast, and then a layer of clear primer over the top so I can do some oil painting. So that is what I'm going to do today. And yeah, you're welcome to watch along. And yeah, I'll share some more videos as I go along in this process, and more updates on what I decide to do with myself. Let's get cracking. Here I am, my lovely prepared canvas in a beautiful sort of tangerine orange, which I've already prepared, already sanded down. It's all nice. Got my iPad set up with the drawing that I'm going to work on. I've got some lovely pencils. I've got this really cool guide. So this will allow me just to check proportions and things are all correct. Yeah, going to start drawing. So the first thing I'm going to do is, based on this picture, is work out where the top bits are and the sort of key points are on the picture. That'll help me map things out so that when I'm actually drawing, I'll get a better idea of where things are. So based on this, I can see the top's probably about here, where the top of the head is. His forehead comes down to about the halfway point. In terms of the shoulders, they're just above the halfway point of the canvas. And torso comes in roughly about there. And then just over halfway here. Does come all the way out at just under halfway for the elbow here. And the underneath of the arm goes there. There is an angle here. Just about that. For where that angle is. There is also an angle here. For the torso. So you can see where that is. Roughly that one's kind of straight down. We know that there is here. This is where the shoulder bit is. We can see in terms of the head where that is here. So we've got like roughly an idea now of where the sort of extents of the image are. And we can essentially then just sort of fill this in based on that. So if I measure to half, so I'm just going to measure to halfway and see where that corresponds on the canvas. It's maybe slightly too much. I'm just going to adjust my little device. These are great, by the way. I really recommend getting one. So you can adjust it here by putting that down, and then you can kind of work out the scale based on the image you're using. So yeah, that works out just about right there. So I can see from the edge of the screen, slightly off there. So we actually want that about there. And this one, we want roughly there. In terms of top of the shoulder, slightly off there. So we actually want it about there. It can't be right. I think my original line there was better. Cool. So let's draw in the other part of the arm. Yeah, that's roughly going to be a cross. That shoulder is higher. We know that there's an arm here. This goes into a hand, roughly with the head. That's way too big. Yeah, that's about right. So roughly about there. We want the bottom of the head. And we can see we've also got the actual face itself is here. With the eyes roughly at that angle, and mouth is kind of there. We've got the chin coming in, we've got the neck. Got a nose. Forehead slightly on angle there. You know that's the hand. And we've got these sunglasses as well. Hairline comes around. You know roughly the shape of the hand and the angles it's at here. Got another nipple there. It comes in slightly. A lot of this is just building up lines and working out where things are. I'm going to carry on with this, and then once the sketch is done, I'll go over it with some pens, so you can watch for that. So let's skip ahead. I think I'm pretty happy with the sketch now. As you can see from the pencil lines, we're going all the way down the torso and then back up. And I've tried to give some nice detail in there. So the next phase we'll be going over this with some pens. Okay, I think I'm pretty much done with the sketch. I've tried to recreate my initial pencil sketch on here, which I think I've done a good job of. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a acrylic marker to basically go over all of the lines that I've already drawn on here. And some of the lines I'm not happy with, some of them I am happy with, but the best thing about doing this with a marker is it means I can basically kind of just pick out the best ones, and then those are the ones that are going to remain in the final picture. Obviously this will all get painted over the top of, so I might make more adjustments and things as we go along, but yeah, time to go over this with a marker. Right, the pen sketch is kind of done now, I think. We've got all the major sort of parts there. We've got this forearm here, which maybe actually needs to be slightly wider, just looking at it. But everything's there. We've got a nice torso. We've got the face with some of the shading. I'll perhaps put a little bit more shading on here, but I think this is looking good for now. I've got to the point where I'm going to start mixing some colours for this painting. I do actually have here, this is my box of colours. I've got a few different brands in here, but the ones I've actually chosen for this are these ones here. So I have a lovely burnt sienna, a magenta, I've got an ultramarine blue, some white, always need some white, some raw umber, a French yellow ochre, and then a bright yellow lake. So I'm going to mix these on the palette and get some colours all ready so that I can just apply them straight to the canvas. And I don't have to worry too much about mixing on the go. And this will hopefully help unify my palette a little bit so that it's all fits in with the same colour scheme. So I'm going to make a start on that now. So I'll start laying out these colours. We'll start with the lightest ones up here. This is where I always start with all of my lightest colours. Fair amount of white, just because we're going to need quite a bit of it. Actually, put a bit more out there. I've got loads, so that's fine. Next we'll go for some bright yellow lake. Again, notice that I'm wearing gloves. I always tend to wear gloves when I'm using oil paints, just because they can get quite messy and it's easier to just take gloves off and throw them away than to wash things off your hands, and especially when using stuff that's got quite harsh chemicals in it. You don't want those going into the water supply necessarily either. So being able to just throw them away is usually much better. So we're kind of going along in terms of the palette here. Starting off with the white, going through to the yellows, into the sort of siennas and browns. We'll get a raw umber. A little bit more there. And then finally some ultramarine. So starting with a nice mix, we get some of this white Now I'm going to start mixing up some of these flesh tones. So we'll get some yellow ochre in there. Right, so I've mixed colours on my palette. I'm quite happy with them. These bits over here are going to be the lighter shades of flesh, and then going through into the darker ones, and then we've got some of the reddy areas here as well. I won't do any of the sky bits just yet. They can come later, and then I'll decide if I'm going to add any of the tattoos in there. But this should be a good start. I'm going to start with fairly large brush, and then basically sort of like slowly work in the details. So I'm going to make a start on that now. I don't really know how to close this video. I've obviously had some time to work on a nice painting, which has been really good. I've done a bit of reflecting while I've been working on that. I think with these sort of things, it's always nice to keep busy. You can very easily kind of get a bit overwhelmed or go immediately into problem-solving mode. And I admit that is something that I did start to do when I first found out. So I immediately went to change my LinkedIn, start thinking about my CV, start downloading anything I could just to see what's out there. It's quite easy to spiral. So I think coming to the studio has been really good. It's allowed me to take some time just to think about things and kind of get outside of my head a little bit. A little bit of creativity is always really good in terms of just something to focus on that's completely external. And I recommend for anyone else who's going through anything similar, try doing something creative. It's really helpful. In terms of what comes next, I don't really know. There's obviously the issue with how the market is now. In my particular industry, a lot of the clients are reducing their budgets. They're relying more on AI as well. And a lot of the tools are changing. So a lot of the things traditionally where they would need an expert to come in and teach people how to use them over several weeks, and they'd need experts to come in and fix things, they can use AI to basically shortcut their way into the training and to do the things that they would normally hire an expert to do. So that obviously plays into my mind a little bit. A lot of these processes are still quite complex, and there are business processes and things as well that can't necessarily be automated at the moment. But I think this is probably affecting lots of people at the moment. And yeah, I'm not going to lie, it's a little bit scary. I think in terms of my next chapter, I know a lot of places are going in-house, or they're like just having contractors for short periods, just because it's more affordable, and especially if budgets are decreasing, that seems to be a better option. So going down the sort of freelance route or working inside a business might be better going forward, if that's even what I really want to do. I kind of fell into this role. I used to work as a graphic designer for a while, although I did study marketing at university. I worked my way around several different roles within that, and eventually settled on this role at the moment, which is quite technical, but also quite sort of strategic. And it's not something people normally study for. People just kind of fall into it. And so it's a small world. It's among the people that do what I do. It's quite an interesting little niche. I do think there will still be demand there, at least for the short term. So I'll maybe pick it back up and see where I get with it. Or at the end of this month, maybe I'll just decide to do something completely different. But yeah, thank you for watching this along with me. I'll give you a preview of the painting as it is right now. And you can have a look and see what you think. It's been quite a fresh painting to put together. So that's been really nice. Rather than it being something kind of quite meticulous or something that I've overworked a lot, I've quite enjoyed painting this. So yeah, I'll give you a little bit of a preview, and hopefully I'll do another one of these as we go along the journey, and I decide what it is that I'm going to do. But yeah, thank you, and let's have a look at the painting as it is now. Like I said, I might do more to it, but let's have a look at it. So, as promised, here is the painting that I've got up to so far. It is looking nice and fresh. I'm quite liking the sort of painterly brush marks. It feels kind of very happy and very cheerful. I probably will come back to it and put the tattoos in, but I'm going to leave it there for now. I don't want to overwork it. I'll give you a quick zoom in and you can see it in detail. But thank you very much.